The Babylonian Captivity, which lasted from 586 BCE to 539 BCE, had a profound impact on Jewish religious thought and practice. When the Israelites were exiled to Babylon following the destruction of the First Temple, they faced a critical challenge of preserving their identity, faith, and traditions outside the land of Israel. This period led to significant religious reforms and changes in Jewish society, many of which had lasting effects on the development of Judaism. Key reforms after the Babylonian Captivity. 1. Emphasis on the law, Torah. Prior to the exile, religious practices in Israel were often centered around the temple in Jerusalem. However, during the Babylonian exile, with the temple destroyed and the people dispersed, the focus shifted to the study and observance of the Torah, the first 5 books of the Hebrew Bible. The Torah became the central guide for religious life, and its study became a key component of Jewish identity. This change also contributed to the development of synagogue worship, which did not rely on the temple. 2. Rise of synagogues. The destruction of the temple in 586 BCE meant that the Jewish people had to find new ways to maintain their faith. Synagogues began to emerge as places of prayer, study, and community gathering, both in Babylon and later in the Persian Empire. These synagogues became the foundation for Jewish religious life during and after the exile, as they allowed Jews to continue their worship and learning without the need for the temple. 3. Focus on monotheism. The exile also reinforced the belief in the absolute sovereignty of one God. Under Babylonian influence, Jews began to more clearly define their monotheistic faith, which was in contrast to the polytheistic practices of their neighbors. This period solidified the idea that Yahweh alone was the true God, not only of Israel, but of the entire world. 4. Prophetic influence. During and after the exile, the prophetic tradition continued to shape Jewish religious life. Prophets like Ezekiel and Isaiah emphasized the need for repentance, justice, and loyalty to God. They also prophesied the eventual return of the Jews to their land and the restoration of the temple, which helped foster hope and perseverance during the difficult exile period. 5. Canonization of sacred texts. The Babylonian exile played a role in the collection and canonization of sacred Jewish texts. The Torah, along with other writings, was compiled and edited, establishing the scriptures that would guide Jewish religious life for generations to come. In conclusion, the religious reforms after the Babylonian captivity laid the foundation for much of the Jewish faith and practices that would later be developed during the Second Temple period and beyond. The shift from temple worship to Torah study, the rise of synagogues, the emphasis on monotheism, and the prophetic influence all contributed to shaping the future of Judaism.